Hello, my name is Suckit, and we are playing Fear Not the Night. And I went exploring a little bit between episodes. We finally found some cows. Was able to get some leather, and we are going to use it to just immediately make ourselves a backpack. Now, this just by itself is another 3 rows of inventory space. We can upgrade it with some iron and get another 3 rows. There we go. We can put it up here, and I think I already have it set to the keypad. Yeah, so we've got a lot more portable inventory space now. If we get some gold, we can upgrade it further. Now we're gonna go ahead, I think, and help ourselves to this guy's kitchen. This stuff isn't hard to craft, but, you know, just as soon steal it. There they are. Very nice. Now, I want to, first of all, see if I remember to put framed blocks in. I did. We don't have much in the way of this green bamboo for blocks that we can use, and I really like the color. So I thought I would see what would happen if we use the block itself on some of these framed blocks. Like the way I'm going to want this thing is like this, but how is this going to look? This is better, for instance, with like wood as opposed to log. This here, I think that might be okay. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? That's actually exactly what we want. That's fine. These fences here are from Macaw's. We'll just look at all the bamboo stuff here. Most of it's this yellow color, but we did have this. We've got this, which we might use. These are pretty cheap. I think they look great. I like the idea of just having, like, you know, bamboo packed in densely to make a little screen. I'm gonna keep working on this and see if we can at least finish up our little house here before getting too deep into some of the mods. Now, I've been caving and I gathered some resources, and caving is pretty cool. You don't get a lot of chances in many mod packs I have played, at least, where you get to just kind of wander around the caves and enjoy them, not have to worry. There are still mimics down there, but you know, we can signpost that in the quest log. What I was thinking about doing, I want to set up some processing. I want to set up a lot of things. Is there a bee in here? I want to set up some bees, but I think, you know, I always put create in the pack, and then we only use it for like 1 or 2 things. I think we're gonna start with create as the mod we're working with. So we don't really have the juice to do windmills, but we could certainly do water wheels, and I'd like to make it, you know, nice. And it seems like we could make, eventually, probably not today, but we could make like a little lake up here and have some water coming down like this way, so that the water wheels, which are down here, will actually make sense. And we'll put a good number of these things in a row, and we have 2 sizes. We got these little ones, and we got these big ones, and we can hold down W in JI there to see all the information about them. They're really cool, and they look cool. I think we can have 8 of them in a row. The more of them you have, the more they can move. They don't move any faster, but they can move more things. The mod has sort of 2 energy mechanics. There's rotational force, and there's stress. Well, there are things that measure both of them, and we can check them all out. So I'm just gonna dig out a little spot here, like 1 block below sea level. And we'll have the bed of the river sort of here. Now to get started in creating, we're gonna need a little andesite alloy, which at least used to be made. Oh, we'll have to smelt up some. I picked up some raw zinc. Have I smelted any of this? Yeah, I have not. Let's go ahead and smelt up some zinc. Now we could also do this with iron nuggets, but we're gonna, at least in the beginning, have a lot more spare zinc lying around than we're gonna have iron. But we can just craft it with andesite and get this stuff. And it's very special. And we're gonna use some of it. Well, we're gonna need a little more than that. At least that much to get started, probably. We're gonna use some of it to right-click some stripped logs in the world and make some andesite casings. These are a crafting ingredient. You can place them in the world. They have a nice connected texture. They're fantastic. Now, one of the many things that you can do with the andesite alloy, is it just two? It's just two. Is we can make shafts. We can take those shafts and surround them with oak planks. We'll need a few more, and we'll get some water wheels. And just we can put one of these down just to check it out real quick. This is a small version. I believe the difference between the two is only aesthetic, but we are going to make the big ones, which are just a little one surrounded by more planks. I think this is the proper amount of room that we're going to want. Yeah, these are nice and big. Now, we're going to want the water to look like it's coming over the top. And then maybe flowing down here into a channel that gets a little narrower. So, I have no bucket. Let's get a bucket. Got bucket. Anyway, so that it seems like they're going the right direction, which they will be, we're going to want the water along the bottom to be flowing from here. And it may well be that we really only need the one to get these moving. But we'll turn it into sources here. Okay, we can see it's moving right along. Now we'll pretty this up. I want to build a whole mill over here. So, what we can do with these shafts, among other things, is, let's see, this is as simple as that now, yeah. And then big cog wheels. They used to be surrounding them with buttons, but I don't think it's... No, just, oh, we can make them directly. Nice. We can just make them with 2 planks. That's fantastic. But what we can do is we could, for instance, we could run some shafts along here so that we're, past the plane of this little wall. You can see them spinning. And we could put one of these little cogwheels on here. And you can see it's spinning, right? It's spinning at exactly the same rate as the water wheel is. We could then, for example, if I can get this right, it's standing in the way, we could put a large cogwheel on it. And it's a little hard to tell because it's going the opposite direction, but it is going slower. That's just the way the relationship is the same as it would be in the real world. Now, if you want faster, which is typically what you want, you just reverse that. You put the big one on first, and then you can put the little one, we'll get it here, you can put the little one next to it. And it's a little hard to tell, but if we were to pop a big one on that, you can clearly see that that's moving along quite a bit quicker. And then we could even pop another one over here, and now we're actually moving along. So that's the simple way to generate some amount of rotational force. Now there are a couple of things that we're gonna want to make any of this useful. And it's not the rope pulley, although I'll definitely take a look at that. I'd like to make a gearbox, and it looks like they're a little more expensive than I remember them being, but that's okay. We can just make some more gears, cogs, what have you. We can go ahead, we'll make a vertical or a horizontal gearbox, which you can craft into a vertical and vice versa. The purpose of this is we're just going to pop it right here and put one shaft and cogwheel underneath it to alter the direction of the force 90 degrees. If we were to pop a gear on the other end here, you'll see it's actually running in the opposite direction. So keep that in mind. What we're going to want, first of all, is a millstone. And not too bad to craft. But we can pop this right here. You can see the two gears interlock. It's moving along. We could toss some stuff in it. What do we got? We have some raw zinc, so we could... Is that not how that works? Can we not put this in a millstone? Maybe not. Well, okay. What could we do with the millstone? Oh, we can make, okay, we can make string out of wool. So definitely not as good as the crushing wheel. I thought we could use the millstone to grind up ore, but it doesn't look like that's the case. So we could process this directly, or we could run it through the crushing wheels and maybe get some nuggets of experience. Well, this will be useful. Oh, actually, there's a lot of stuff with the Create Food mod that we can make with this. This is how we get the espresso powder. We could also get this stuff from the roasted coffee beans. Oh, wait a minute. Are there two things we go? Uh-oh. Oh, okay. So we cut them up, we get the espresso powder. We smash them with a shovel, and then we get the coffee powder, and we could also make the coffee powder. Okay. I thought I had an oops there. So we actually could go and make a blaze with nature's ore and catch it and put it in a blaze burner and start with create after all, or we could just go with thermal. I think we're just going to go with thermal. We'll get into create. We want all kinds of things with that, but we're going to need we're going to do thermal. We're going to need to generate some power. And if we're going to generate power, then I would like to be able to store some of it. And we can do that, but first we're going to need a little bit of rubber. And we're going to smelt it. Yeah, we're batting 1,000 over here. I forgot we're gonna need something to make the energy storage. That's okay. We're gonna grab a little bit of tin, a little bit of iron. We're gonna have to smelt up some glass. We do have our cured rubber. That'll come in handy later. So we're gonna want to start with a Stirling dynamo. This will turn burnables into, oh, we're gonna need some nuggets, that's right. This will turn burnables like coal or blaze rods or whatever into power. And what is that, 2 stone it said? 2 stone of any type? That's just fine, there we go. I never put these down properly. I always mess it up in some way, but that time I actually did it properly. Let's assume I didn't, and we're gonna go ahead and make the wrench from the mod, which is the crescent hammer. And I think that's an iron gear. And 3 more iron. And with this, among other things, we can change the orientation of blocks from the mod. We can also rotate other blocks, which is a lot of fun. Now, we are going to want a way to transfer energy. So, we have the pipes mod. All we're going to need is some redstone and some iron, and we'll have these energy pipes, which you will be shocked to know that they'll transfer RF around. To actually make them work, we will need a pipe wrench, which is just 2 flint and some sticks. We'll run it along here. We'll shift right click here. This makes it a point that will interact with, it'll pull stuff out. It also gives it a GUI that you can add upgrades to. Each upgrade lets you do more and more things with them, but that will allow us to transfer some power. Now, the first thing we're going to want is a pulverizer. This is going to use just some copper gears. Now, we don't need that many. We will need one of these machine frames, which is a tin gear, and some iron and some glass, which we have. Yes, we do. Make our first machine frame. Gonna need another redstone flux coil. And we got a piston. We got some flint. Now we have a pulverizer. Pop this thing down right here. And we can give it some juice. Toss in our charcoal in here. You can see this thing filling up. And if we wanted to grind something up, which we do, what do we want to grind up? We want to grind up some iron. We want to grind up some nickel. We really want to grind up some nickel. So we're going to throw 13 nickel in here. And when this thing's all done, we got 14 nickel dust and a little bit of copper dust. We can all smelt that up. We can smelt all that up into an ingot each. So we got a little bit extra. That's nice. We could also grind up, niter and make niter dust. But we can, like, here's a big one. Gravel into sand and maybe a little bit of flint. This thing here indicates an experience crystal, which we could put over here. It could collect some experience for us, which some of this stuff will do. But we can, we can get sand from cobblestone now, and then glass from the sand, which is really nice. We can also take a little bit of gold here, and a little bit of silver. We can grind these up, and we got a little extra. So with our gold and our silver dust, we're just going to craft these together. Make 4 electrum dust, which, when this is done, we're going to smelt up into some electrum. But we do need these bricks, too. Because we want to make ourselves a redstone furnace. This is a furnace. It runs on RF or FE or whatever it is in this. Is it? Okay, it's redstone flux. Cool. And we could use this much more efficiently than cooking up anything in here to then smelt. Now we're gonna grab a chest here, and we're gonna put it right down. You can add all kinds of augments, but what I wanted was the configuration. Now blue is output, and if we turn the auto, orange is output. Excuse me. And if we turn the auto output on, this will deposit directly into the chest. We can turn this on to input, and we'll turn both of these on. And we'll want an output and an input on top. We also want an input on top here. Very nice. Everything's enabled, so we could toss, like, let's do the gold. We probably are gonna need the gold. I'm gonna throw this in here. It'll grind it up, and then when there's some space in the redstone furnace, it'll send the gold right into it, which will then get smelted up, and we can have this whole thing be hands-free. I'm trying to think if it's worth building the item pipes just for one, and I think it is because we're actually going to build two. Or we're going to place two, I mean. We will need some droppers. Glad they're not dispensers. So for the low price, so 2 droppers, 6 iron, and a redstone, we can get ourselves some item pipes. We can shift right click to disconnect them. We can... I need barrels. We could put some inventories up here. Take our pipe wrench, set both of these to output, and then everything we want to smelt, we could throw over here. Everything we want to grind up before we smelt, we can throw over here. Now I'm assuming that we can run this through the pulverizer. Yeah, it looks okay, yeah. Very good. Now occasionally we'll get stuff in here that doesn't smelt. It'll just sit in here until there's too much of it, and then this thing will stop. But, you know, sooner or later we'll have this piping out the bottom, and then probably not actually using it for ore processing once we get our bees going. Though we have some basic processing here. Now the other thing that we're going to want to make, now that we have the electrum, is that battery. Now we can go ahead and make our electrum gear at last. We got our flux cell frame, and then what are we missing here? We just need 2 iron. I just threw everything over here real quick because we're about to move the machines. Here we go. 2 iron, some redstone, that cured rubber we smelted up, and we have our flux cell. Now we can shift right click and just pick these right up. Pop this thing down right here. And right now it's not doing nothing. We're going to want to enable the input and the output. And we're going to set this left side to input. And you can see it's already filling up. We'll set this side to output. Shift right click with our pipe wrench onto our energy pipe. Put the blocks back down. And these will maintain their state and their settings, so that's nice. And now we'll be able to store up some power. And this is greatly upgradable. 1 million is not very much, but we will be able to upgrade this an awful lot. And I think we're going to call it here. I got to gather some more resources, so I'll do that between episodes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.